Hello.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Evie. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Just battling with technology at the moment. So yeah, in case
Yeah.
you are left on your own,
Well,
just
well,
that forward.
I think more to the point, if we suddenly disappear, folks, it's because the system's gone down. Because if you go, I go. You're the one with the life.
That's true.
So anyway, that's all good. If we disappear, then know that it's a technical issue. We haven't just left the building. That's not what the case is. It's all good. And
Mhm.
a very warm welcome to anyone who is joining us today live, and obviously to anyone who watches this on replay. And I'll set us up for today, Evie, whilst I know you're trying to kind of control what's going on at that end. So this week we're focusing on the worth for work belief. And this is all about those narratives, those stories that tell us that unless we have got our foot on the pedal, unless we are pushing, 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 doing, then we are failing, or we are not going to get to where we want to go. And really what they do is encourage us and drive us to just keep going regardless. And there are two phrases that we're going to look at today, but the first one is, and I think this is a really important one. Well, they both are, but I have to earn rest. I have to earn rest. Evie, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that to start with puzzled me. Like, earnest? What's that? Then I realized, yeah, that is like pretty much a reality for a lot of people. Um, and it's not something that it has really occurred to me in that context, but definitely the moments of idleness are like very much criticized by my judge, and I suppose this plays to that particular state of being. So unless you run, and then say, okay, now I can have like 15 minutes rest, you're not feeling that you are actually doing things, or that you are in that process of development, or that you are doing enough, or that, I don't know, you show up the way you want to show up. And it is, as most of these phrases, like we hear it, we adopt it, but we don't know where it came from in a way, because there is something that has triggered this, right? So how
Yeah,
does that show up for you? I know you took
yeah,
a nice long foot, I mean long foot, like a foot off the pedal for the whole of January, which was great, and
yeah.
you have some good results with that. But
Absolutely. I think for me, when I think about, what's the root cause or what could be the root cause, and of course that's different for everyone. But I think sometimes it's from the language you hear, like you're lazy, or, if you're not literally doing something, you're idle, and your idleness will lead to something awful. So there's this like, oh my gosh, if I'm not constantly on it, then that tells other people that I'm not good enough. So that whole worth things, that tells people that, I'm not to be relied upon. So there's lots, I think there were so many stories that kind of underlie that. And I think the hyperachiever would probably be one of those states that is driven by that, like, if I don't keep my foot on the pedal, I'm going to lose momentum. I'm not going to get to where I'm going, and all of that is shows up in as who I am as a human being. And that goes back to a phrase that I know I've used multiple times on these videos, is that you're already worth. You're just already worth, period, full stop, just by being here as the human being that you are. There is no pushing and cramming and must do's and, you know, showing up and being more than that accelerates your worth. You are just worthy. And I think for me that's the kind of the key flip of the switch is when we understand I'm worthy just by my very nature as a human being, then I don't have to keep on forcing myself to do all of these things. This I have to earn rest. Again, hasn't really shown up for me. It's not a phrase that I would say I have battled with. And although I was just thinking, like when I think about the word, and I was just thinking the word lazy just popped back in, and I can remember, I think I remember having a school report, which was a billion years ago, and one of my teachers saying, she's lovely, she's chatty, but she can be lazy. And I'm sure that was written on one of my from one of my teachers. And actually now I think, did she scar me for life? No, she didn't. But those are the sorts of things when you're listening to people in authority or your parents or whatever, that if you hear it often enough, it then becomes a story. And so, in order to not be that. I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to be idle. I don't want to be seen as somebody who doesn't do anything. I now must do more. Right. So
Mhm.
that becomes that driving force. And you begin to think that in order to be of worth, you must be being productive. If you're not being productive, then your worth is not there. Your self-worth is disappearing. And interestingly, when I posted about this conversation on Tuesday, the lovely Kalinda, who is a self-love coach, hi Kalinda, if you're watching in, had said even like a year ago, she was still wrestling with that guilt of resting. There was a degree of guilt that came with resting, and there was that voice that was demanding, you need to do a little bit more, you need to do a little bit more. Fortunately, not least because of the work she has done with and for herself, but the work that she does with and for others, she is also deeply connected to, she calls it her inner ally. We would say the sage, right?
Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
thing. And that because she can tap into that, she can break those messages relatively quickly. And that's the thing. They don't disappear. They don't go away. Like you never not hear these things again. They become less frequent and you just become better at diverting them, at switching them off, at
Mm.
turning down the volume. And that's where the magic is. So yeah, as I said, this particular phrase is not one that I can honestly say has come up for me. And I've always been able to rest, but I haven't always rested. So that's an interesting one. Like I've always known that rest is great and that there's nothing wrong with stopping. Yet I can still think about all the times that I pushed through as opposed to allowed myself to kind of like surrender and be pulled and be, kind of guided through.
Very interesting, especially when it's coming from a person that self love and self rest and all these things are like important, and we know how important those are, and no matter what type of work you do. But I wanted to touch on 2 points from the things that you said. Well, and the story with your teacher, I love that. And I think, more or less, or not more or less, not everybody has this type of comment on their progress card, whatever. But like it comes to show that these things stayed with you, even though you don't feel it scarred you for life. Well, and even though it's like so many years ago, you still remember it. And why do you remember it? Because this has actually told you something, or it was like the repetition of it from some other people in your life and stuff. And like I know you for like what, 12 years or so, and I can definitely say you're not a lazy person by any means. If anything, you are like on the go all the time, and but not to the detriment of your health, which is I think that is the nice balance that we need to have and we need to achieve, right? And the other thing is that we as women, I think we have another story in our heads because if we rest, if we actually take the time to slow down, even be idle, like do nothing for a little while, usually there are a lot of people that depend on us being active. And I think this creates the pressure that okay, I don't have to do anything for work right now, but I need to do the dishes, or I need to do something for my child, or
Yeah.
or since I have that little time, why should I take it for me when I have, like my elder mother or father that they need me to go and do something for them. So you bypass that little time that it is for you to sort of honor something that is outside of you. And I don't say you must not do that, but that's when we need to be very vigilant as to how we share our time, how we spend our time, so we can not honor everybody else but ourselves. And coming back to what you usually say, don't deplete ourselves. So we can do for others from a point of fullness.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness, so true, Evie. Actually, just as you were talking and speaking there about, how we can bypass that little moment, that window that we could utilize for ourselves to fill our tank up, it also came to me is that teaching that we have embedded into our nervous system of everything else, everyone else, everything else, everyone, that it becomes so deeply ingrained that even the thought of stopping, slowing down, doing something for yourself, even like sitting down for 5 minutes and doing nothing is just like discomfort. Like that for some people is just like, oh my goodness, no, that would never work for me because they have trained their nervous systems so well to be in a kind of level of stress where they are constantly, if I'm not doing, then something's horribly wrong. And so even wanting to come out of that, and I can say for myself, like you said, I am somebody who, yeah, I'm a doer. I know that is kind of something that and I enjoy doing things. However, what I've really been working on, and certainly over the past year, and certainly this January, is like, how do I just not do and be really happy and feel the joy of that? And I have done that really well. I mean, I'm going to say in the past year, I have just got a really good handle on that, where I get as much joy from doing the things that I love as I do from doing nothing. I get the same experience of joy and know that it is good for me. And if it's good for me, it's good for everyone that I'm serving. It's as simple as like for me, that's the simplicity.
Absolutely.
If it's good for me, it's going to be good for everyone that I'm serving. So I think it's, yes, it's the messages that we've received, that lazy on the report, your parents telling you something, somebody else comparing you to somebody else and saying, look, this person does all this and you only doing this. All of that stuff that happens that creates that sense of a lack of worth, um, for me, comes back to where are we now giving ourselves one permission to just acknowledge that without any judgment on it, because going down the judgment route is probably not going to help you. It's just being able to acknowledge that and just be saying, when I am still or when I am doing something for me, what does that feel like? Is it like, oh, this is wonderful and blissful, or oh my God, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I should be doing this. And just seeing, just noticing what comes up and then thinking, okay, and be able to sit with that even is a thing before you start to think about what you might want to do about it. So for me, a lot of what I'm focused on right now is helping my clients to just sit with stuff. Don't try and fix it straight away. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, here's another foot on the pedal moment. Take your foot right off the pedal and be still and observe because it pays dividends.
Absolutely. And I mean, I hear you, and I'm thinking, like probably a lot of people are like, how do you do that? And how can this help me? I need to do this now. But observing is such a great tool, because you can, by observing, observe your own patterns. And we have talked about that so many times, that if you do understand the patterns, the way you work, then it is more likely that you're going to have the awareness and how to overcome certain things that will help you accelerate your progress, rather than um, running like or spinning your wheels, basically. And I remember some years ago, like, after going around, I can only say like buzzing like a bee, like going, and I would actually vocalize it and say, I will take 10 minutes to chill. But I had to say it to actually allow myself to do that. And it is it was usually, around people. I would
Yes,
say, like, I need that 10 minutes. And it was not about them. I don't think that it would have anything to do with them. But in my mind, now, as I am, doing the work and analyzing what I used to do, and why, it was as if I was actually asking for permission at
mm,
that moment to say, okay, I have actually earned my rest for like 10 minutes. Uh,
yeah,
so you have seen me, right? I've
yeah,
been running around. So those 10 minutes are mine now. So it is quite interesting when you start, as you said, taking that moment and seeing what you have been up to. What are you doing? Why are you doing those things? Very
absolutely,
interesting.
absolutely. And I'd say the gold for this, and we'll get on to the second phrase in a minute, but the gold from this, and this is my own experience, is that because I chose in January, like I am not rushing in. I am going slow. I'm going to actually tune in more and observe than I am going to do anything. And I held true to that probably into the very early beginnings of February. And what was beautiful about that, or what I've taken from that, is that it gave me so much clarity about what I wanted to do when I came out the other side. And that for me was the gold. It's just like by taking that moment and understanding, gosh, I know I'm worthy of taking the rest that I need. I don't need permission. I grant myself permission. But actually taking a month out is a big chunk of time. Well, it felt like a big chunk of time. I'm just saying it was a big chunk of time at a time when most people are foot on the pedal, right? To literally go the reverse. Um, but actually now thinking, oh my goodness, because of that, I was able to really tune in to what is truly important to me and make decisions from that place. Had I not slowed down, I would have just gone with whatever I pen to paper I had written down that must be done. And so there is such a value in honoring yourself. And it is an honor to just allow yourself to rest. Nobody has to give you permission. You just claim it. It's your right. Um, yeah, just wanted to share
Absolutely. No,
that.
definitely. Definitely.
Okay, phrase two. If I'm not working, I'm lazy. So,
There you go.
again, here we go again. And interestingly, Hira also posted under this, and she said, worth and productivity still get tangled. And yes, I mean, I hear it quite a
Yeah,
lot
all the
in my
time.
work. I'm sure you do too, Evie.
Mm. Not only that, I mean, you can hear it and you can see it around you. You can see it in the media. And, now that AI is so prominent as well, the fact that you need to do things and make sure that you are on top of things, and things are running around you, and that you will never be able to catch up, and all this. So generally it takes you to that phrase that I need to keep going on, because I need to show and show up in a fast pace. Otherwise, I I mean I'm going to be labeled as lazy. I'm going to call myself lazy. I'm going to, this type of thing. And it is so hard in this day and age to just pause. I mean, I find it like very strange that, like occasionally when I hear mainstream media, and you can feel the anxiety in the voices. You can feel that and that everything needs to be like really fast, and there is absolutely no, for me, in my mind, no moment that you can just connect with it, with whatever it is out there. No, it's like go, 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 go. So that creates like a sense of stress without real stress, but like that you need to rush to do something. But there is a big price that you have to pay for that, and
Yeah.
I think health comes very much like top in the list, and a lot of other things. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't feel that anymore. I don't but it has to do with the work, how we are doing and how we allow ourselves to
Yeah.
take that pause and the breath.
Yeah. And you know,
Um,
I have a real empathy around this for people, because I know that if you are working in an organization where it's like full on and it is demanding, and you're meant to keep your foot on the pedal, that again, that becomes embodied. And funnily enough, I spoke to somebody this week, and she was saying she came out of that environment because she realized what it was doing to her nervous system. She realized she'd burnt out multiple times. She realized that she couldn't keep doing it because it would be probably the death of her, right, if she stayed in it. So she had to take herself out. And so there's a part of me that just says, even if you're a highly productive person and you're somebody who, likes to get lots done, you still do need, whether you like it or not, to take those moments with your foot off the pedal. You still need to rest. And sometimes that is about understanding that stillness is not a weakness. Stillness is a strength. Stillness allows you to, observe, acknowledge, consider what has been and what would really be the best way forward. And I always think of it as this: if your foot is constantly on the pedal, how do you see what else is available? Because you're just doing this. When you take your foot off of the pedal and you take that step back, suddenly you start to see things that you would otherwise have missed. And now there could be a better pathway. There could be a better partnership. There could be a better resource. There could be a better anything. But if you're constantly on it, you'll just bypass all of that. So for me, there was just this lesson and understanding that when we can give ourselves permission to be still, whatever that looks like for us, when we can give ourselves permission to rest, what we're really doing is strengthening ourselves for the very things that it is that we want to do, have to do, if there are have tos involved, um, and would like to achieve. It's really difficult to really appreciate that if you're just head down, head in the game, getting stuff done. And that I can definitely say in my life experiences, I have definitely had moments when I've just been head down, got to do. And I think, gosh, Of course, now I think, and I don't think of it in a judgmental way, but I just think, oh, I wonder what I missed when my head was so far down getting stuff done. What did I miss that could have been helpful? Maybe not, but I don't know. I'll never know, and that's okay. Let it go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I like when I have discussions with people that are like extremely like focused and but like focus in a way that you're missing the tree from the forest, this type of focus, like completely like not acknowledging anything else apart from maybe the end goal. And like what I like to talk to them about is a metaphor of like being in a bullet train and having your just like as you are, and
Yes.
you're heading in a specific direction, specific place. um, you're going to arrive there, but you're not going to be there with so much more that you could. And also, that place that you are arriving to might not be the one that you really wanted to arrive to. So the slowing, when that train starts slowing down and you can see outside, it is what you said. You might find that there is another resource out there. You might find there is better collaboration out there. You might find that there is something else that will take you eventually to where you want to go. But you're going to be a very different you in either your goal or the the goal that you're meant to arrive to. So it is important for us to see that, to understand that yes, focus is like key. I believe very much in focusing, but we need to also understand how to do these things without taking away from our own growth, because focus by itself can take away from your growth and also from your health. And yeah, that's not ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's and of course focus is wonderful. Isn't it wonderful though when your focus is on what truly matters? So for me, it'll always come back to what truly matters. It's really hard to get to the heart of what truly matters if you are just driving. If you're just, like you said, on that bullet train and like, that's where I've got to get to, let's just get there. Bang. No stops, please, just keep going. And that for me also eats away at your experience.
Yeah,
We're here. We're here. This life is an experience. It is a journey, whether we like the term or don't. Some people cringe when, oh my gosh, that journey term. Journey, experience, call it what you will. We are here to have that. And, I have met enough people who have done the bullet train thing, got somewhere and just thought, what the hell was that all about? Now that I'm here, there's no joy here for me. Okay. There's potentially reasons for that because you just
true,
closed your eyes and went instead of slowing down and seeing what's around you and really appreciating and nurturing that's as you move forward, nurturing that space. So yeah, I think somebody else had posted under our little reminder for today about sort of what how do you help women, how in the work that we do, how do we help women actually start to let go of these narratives, these stories. And I think, well, Kalinda kind of summed it up actually in her own post, and that inner ally, the sage as we call it, really using positive intelligence. It's a great model, it's a great modality for helping us identify some of those patterns. It's not the only one. So let me just be clear, there are other modalities. This is one that has resonated deeply with me, and I know with you. That's why we started doing these lives in the first place. That it's such a great model to be able to see. Ah, yeah, I say that to myself a lot. I say that to myself all the time. I say to that too often. It's just being able to understand and see and just think, wow, and if you want to understand where they came from, that's also a journey you can do. But actually, sometimes it's just seeing it and realizing this is a pattern. This has been showing up for me for a real long time, and actually, it's not serving me. It is not serving me right here, right now. Now I can do something about it. And so the work that we do through Permission to Thrive, through this, is really understanding how to get more in touch with your sage, that inner wisdom, that other voice that really wants to help you be all of who you are. Not all of who you're meant, who you are, who you are at source. Coming, and for me, that's the coming back home, coming back to self.
Because that is what where I think you can deepen your own personal wisdom, let's say, because that is exactly where you, as without all the layers, resides basically. And if you align with that, then all is good in your world. And that, I mean, it is a journey. We have many, 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 many layers to peel off, and we're still peeling layers off. And that's why we always say, even with our discussions here, we are constantly learning ourselves and understanding where all these phrases have showed up in our lives. Because if we were not doing that, we wouldn't really pay so much attention
Mm,
to what these phrases meant for us. And I think that is really so useful. And it's always a progress, isn't it? Just
yeah,
a step, just a step towards the
absolutely.
right direction is all you need to take.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm going to say we, I'm going to say I, work in progress. I am a work in progress. And I love
Definitely.
that because every experience I have now, I can learn from it. I can take the nugget from it and I can leave the rest. And I just understand that. And at the same time, I can recognize something in me that's no longer serving me and I can choose to peel it away and do the work that allows me to do that. If I can do that for myself, why would I not want to do that for other people? Absolutely. That's why I do the work that I do. That's why we do the work that we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. I am completely with you there.
yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So I think that's we done. I
Yes,
think we've arrived for
we've
today.
arrived
So
and we didn't have any glitches, which is great.
which is fantastic. I do want to just say, thanks again so much to Kalinda, Tahira, and Pavin. I'm sorry if I haven't pronounced your name correctly, for leaving those little comments underneath our Tuesday post. Tuesday's post is always a reminder for today, so always look out for it because if you want to have a little comment, leave it there. We'll always do our best to bring it up here in the live. We appreciate it because that interaction also helps us to kind of think and look at things maybe more differently than we would have had we come
Absolutely.
without those shares. So that's really important too. And as always, Evie, thank you so much for pulling it together, for doing all the tech.
Yeah.
Love you for that.
Thank you, Yvonne. Always a pleasure being in this space with you. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
See you next week.